Hello everyone. This technology presentation is going to show you how to use SurveyMonkey to collect data. So on this first page, which is my technology presentation homepage, I have the objectives for this presentation, so you'll learn how to access SurveyMonkey, how to create and utilize different features of SurveyMonkey, how to read and analyze the data SurveyMonkey provides, and then how to use SurveyMonkey in a training or a lesson. So on this page, the very first thing that you can do is click on the icon to create a SurveyMonkey account. So clicking on the icon takes you to the SurveyMonkey website, where you would just go ahead and you would click up sign up for free, unless you wanted to create an account for the paid version, which offers more features. Then you would click on Pro Sign Up. If you click the back button, it takes you back to my presentation. So then on the bottom of each page, if you click the links below, it will allow you to access the other pages in the presentation. So the next page that we're going to access is going to be how to create a SurveyMonkey. So there is a PDF link that shows you how to create a SurveyMonkey. The video is a little bit more in depth and takes you step by step through the survey creating process. So if you click on the video, it will take you to this page where you have to download the video. Hi everyone, this video is going to show you. And then the video again takes you through the step-by-step process of how to create a SurveyMonkey, and then how to and some of the different features that SurveyMonkey has to offer when you are creating a survey. So then if you click back, it takes you back to the how to create a SurveyMonkey page. So then the PDF version is a version that's not as in-depth. It's more of a guide that just kind of shows you how to create a SurveyMonkey. If you don't need the step-by-step instructions, so you would log in, you would click on sign up for free, you would type in the required information, and then click on create account. The home page then includes features that tell you how many surveys you have open, how many are in draft mode, and how many total responses you have received from the surveys that you have sent out. This is also called your dashboard. This is where you would access your existing surveys and create new surveys. To create the survey, you then click on Create Survey in the top right side of the website. Then choose whether to start from scratch or copy an existing survey, or choose a template. So you have three options. You can choose a pre-made template that SurveyMonkey has created. You can copy an existing survey if, for example, it's a yearly survey that you send out, and the questions don't really change. You can just copy the survey that you used from the previous year, or you can completely start from scratch. For the purposes of our training, if you were trying to follow along, you would click on Start from Scratch, and then you would enter the survey name and click on Create Survey. So then we have the question types. So SurveyMonkey does a really great job of giving you videos that show you how to create each type of question, which I thought were really informative. So I included the links on this page. So if you would click on multiple choice, it'll take you to the multiple choice page on SurveyMonkey, and again it gives you this video that shows you not only how to set up your multiple choice question, but then it also will show you how to analyze the results of the question, which I also discussed in another video. And then it's also nice because it gives you some tips, and then it also gives you creating a multiple choice questions, options and settings, survey behavior, and analyzing your results. So then again, I also have the link to check boxes. I chose the questions that, since using SurveyMonkey, I have mostly used. Again, it takes you to the page, shows you the video, kind of gives you step-by-step how to create a checkbox question, options and settings, survey behavior, and analyzing the results. And then the same thing with the drop-down. It takes you to the page. You see the video. It shows you, just gives you a few directions on how to create a drop-down question, the options and settings, survey behavior, and analyzing your results, which, like I said, I talk about in more detail on one of the other pages in my presentation. So then we also have star rating. So again, it takes you to the page, your video's there, directions, question settings, colors, spacing between icons, additional options, survey behavior, and analyzing your results. And then the chart scale as well. And then we also have the matrix drop-down menus, which there are some features of this question that you can't use because they are paid. But it shows you the video. It gives you the step-by-step instructions. Also gives you a tip. Survey behavior, analyzing results, and then charts. So then next in these directions, once you've chosen your question type, you would type in your question and choose a pre-written question from the suggested questions. One of the nice things that SurveyMonkey does is if you start typing in a question, it will come up with pre-made questions and sometimes pre-made answers. So it makes you trying to create the questions and the answers a lot easier. Enter in the answer choices or choose the pre-created answer choices from the Answer Genius. Turn on the Score This Question, which is really only applicable if you are going to use this as a quiz, which is great for not only summative assessments but formative assessments as well. And then you would click on Add and Other. Answer option or comment field feature if needed, which allows you to basically create like a little comment box. So if the question would allow a person to maybe not choose from the selected answers, they can type in their own answer. Then you go to the options at the top of the question and choose the following if needed. Require an answer to this question, which for data purposes you may need to do. Change the layout for how the choices are displayed so you can scramble the answer choices if you so desired. And then randomize, sort, or flip the choices. Then you click on Save. You click on New Question. Once all the questions have been created, you can reorder the questions if needed. You just go to the question and click on Move. It's on the left-hand side of the question, and it will tell you what other questions you can move it before or after. So then there are some other features on the left sidebar. There's a question bank with pre-made questions that can be added to the survey. Drag and drop questions, pages, etc. to your current survey. You can change the appearance. There's also a logic feature, which is only available on the paid version, but it does still show it. And then last, we have the options feature, which includes a quiz feature and how participants progress through the survey. So then it's really nice because at the top of the page, SurveyMonkey will kind of give you a timeline of what you've done. So that was more so the design phase. Then we go into the preview and score phase. So once your survey is complete, you would click on Next, located near the top right side of the website. You can choose to invite others to comment, which is located towards the bottom. So it allows other people to come in and take a look at your survey if you're creating this survey with other people. Then you would preview the survey for accuracy and correctness, then click Next, and then you collect responses. SurveyMonkey also has several different ways that you can send the survey out and then start collecting responses. So this is just a document that I put together if you don't need step-by-step instructions or you don't need to watch the entire video. This kind of gives you a shorter version of the same instructions on how to create a SurveyMonkey. So again, we go back to my how to create a SurveyMonkey page. And I also found 2 links to SurveyMonkey that kind of give you some best practices. And so, best practices for every step of survey creation, which was interesting to read because it just, talks about defining a clear and attainable goal for the survey. Keep the more personal questions to the end, which I really liked and actually have used that tip when creating a survey for another group project that I'm a part of. Don't let the survey get too long, which again, because this is the free version, you can only have 10 questions on the free version. So it's kind of nice if you're just trying to get a snapshot of, for example, if you're using this in a training for, beforehand, what the participants know. A 10-question survey is a really good way to get a snapshot of that. And then at the end, maybe giving out another survey of just 10 questions to see what they learned and maybe what changes can be made for future trainings. Again, it also works for lessons with students, or even state tests with students. If you would give this out like a month before a big state standardized test to kind of see, okay, this is what my students know and this is where we need to be in that next month based on the survey data. So then next we have focus on using closed-ended questions. So again, questions that have specific answers, because again, it becomes a little bit more difficult to read and analyze the data when you have so many open-ended questions. Consider including a survey incentive, so give them a reason to want to complete the survey. This probably is more geared towards adults in a training more than students, where I guess for students you could give them a grade for it, which is an incentive. Don't ask a leading question, so you don't want to ask questions that would influence a respondent's answers. So keep your answer choices balanced. Stay away from asking double-barreled questions. So basically, you're asking for feedback on 2 separate things within a single question. So how would you rate the quality of a product and support? So you're asking about the quality, but also the support. You would want to make those 2 separate questions because the answers for each aren't really the same. And then preview the survey before you send it. And it's always good to maybe have more than one person look at the survey, so then that way you're getting a fresh perspective. So again, if we go back, the question types that I included in the PDF, I also put the link here just if you wanted to access it in another way. Also, then you can access get responses, analyzing the results, account and billing if you would choose to have the paid version, privacy and legal, and then taking surveys. So that's the page for how to create a SurveyMonkey. So then next we have how to use SurveyMonkey in a training. So this page features a sample training lesson plan that I created on how to use SurveyMonkey in a training. So first I put all of the ISTE standards for coaches, and then also this links to the ISTE standards for coaches, which I do actually have them typed out on a different page, but for the purposes of the sample lesson, just kind of put the standards that the training would meet. And then if we scroll down, I have the ISTE standards that students would meet for this training. And again, if we click on it, it takes you to the standards for students. Because this training actually is for students at my university. So then we have our objectives. So by the end of this training, students would be able to access Neomed's learning management system called AIMS or Sakai, obtain course materials, post on the discussion board, submit assignments, view course calendars, view lecture videos, and access the course syllabus. These seem to be the things. We actually do this training the first week that students come to campus, and this always seems to be what students have the most issues with, because AIMS is not a very popular learning management system, mostly because it's free. I believe it was created by, I believe it's Duke University, and so it's free, so it doesn't offer a lot of the bells and whistles that, like, for example, Brightspace or Blackboard offers. So students tend to have a little bit more difficulty with AIMS because it's not as user-friendly. So in the rationale for objectives, based on a pre-survey for this year and past surveys, students struggle most with these features on AIMS. So that's kind of the reason for this. So then in pre-training, approximately 1 month before the start of school, a pre-survey will be created collaboratively between curriculum coordinators and academic technology services and sent out to the students via student onboarding. They will be required to fill out the survey before they can start student onboarding, and survey questions will ask students about their current knowledge / experiences with AIMS. Students will have 1 week to complete the survey. So, our Academic Technology Services Department is the department that we collaborate with the most when it comes to AIMS, and curriculum coordinators and ATS, as we call the department, are the ones that put on the training that first week of school. So this pre-survey link, this was just something that I created based on the training that students would answer. So have you ever utilized the AIMS learning management system before, or an online learning management system before? Please select all the learning management systems you currently utilize or have utilized in the past. And these seem to be the most popular based on my research. These are the learning management systems that are used the most. Although AIMS is not one of them, I obviously put it on the survey because we want to see how many students have used AIMS before. So when learning to use a learning management system, how do you learn best? So reading directions, watching a video, hands-on, watching someone else in a face-to-face session, which is how we do the first session with the students, and then a mixture of all of these. So the fourth question then, when utilizing, when learning to use a learning management system, what features do you struggle with the most or have never utilized before? Select all that apply. And then what expectations do you have for Neomed's LMS training, just to kind of get an idea of what the students expect to learn about. So then that way we would make sure that we covered it in the training. So then what is your gender? What is your age range? Because we do have some non-traditional students that come to Neomed, especially in our pharmacy program, because some of them go out into the workforce and then come back. Medicine, you have more of the traditional type students where they've gone to a 4-year undergraduate program and then are going into medical school. Where pharmacy, the students tend to be not so traditional, so asking their age is important to kind of understand, okay, this person has been out of school for this many years. They may need a little bit more training than, say, a student who is maybe in this 25 to 34 range. So what's the highest level of school you've completed or the highest degree you have received? Again, this is more so for our pharmacy students, because some of them, we definitely have students who at times they went to medical school and became a doctor and then decided to come back to become a pharmacist. And again, obviously, because this is a professional school, all of them have to have at least a bachelor's degree. So this would be the pre-survey that we would send out about a month before school. And then what we would do is then we would all get together and basically create the training based on the pre-survey feedback. So then next would be the training. So the materials that we would need are the handouts, our student laptops, projector and microphones. All of our lecture halls come with projector and microphones. And then handouts would just be kind of based on the pre-survey data, where we have a lot of students maybe saying that they struggle with, how to submit an assignment. So we would also include that in a handout for those students who maybe do better with reading directions than doing it face-to-face or watching a video. So then the face-to-face session would also be recorded and uploaded to Ames after the session for student reference. So then during the Professional Foundations course, which is also called PF1, this is when the Ames session would take place, and the curriculum coordinators and the ATS department would present a 60-minute face-to-face session where students learn how to use Ames based on the pre-survey data. We would pass out the following Ames handouts as students walk into each session. And again, these are just kind of the ones that we mostly get questions about. So how do students submit an assignment? And it takes them through step by step on how to submit an assignment. And then we have resources. So resources where students access their lecture materials and PowerPoints, or if they have an activity, is how they access, maybe what group they're in, or the schedule for, what times they need to be and where they need to be. This is where they access those resources. So this shows them step by step how to access their student resources. So then last we have grades. Some of our course directors do use the gradebook in Ames when students have to submit assignments via Ames. So this shows them, again, how to access their gradebook. So then the first 5 minutes would be an introduction of the departments, and then just kind of introducing the overall session in Ames and what the objectives are and why, and again kind of explaining to them your pre-survey data, is basically the basis for this entire survey. And also just to kind of back up, the students have to do student onboarding. They have required tasks that they have to complete. So including this as one of those required tasks ensures that we get the data back in a timely manner so we have time to plan out the session. Along with that, it also, if we do it first and we don't allow them to move on, it also ensures that they're going to do it, and they're going to do it pretty quickly because they have a lot of requirements that they have to meet for student onboarding, so they need time to do that. So then we would take 10 minutes and we would show the students how to access Ames from the Neomed homepage and log in. And then we would also allow the students to log in. So that way they're also doing it as we're doing it. So then for the next 30 minutes, we would show the students different features on Ames and how to utilize and access them, again, based on the pre-survey data. And then we would allow students to then utilize and access those same features. So it would kind of be like an I do, you do type training, and then they would complete 2 Kahoots to check for learning, which at this point they have already done Kahoots, so they already know how to use them. So we would just throw up the code and have them either access it from the laptop or have them access it from their phones to check for learning. So then that way, if we need to maybe reteach something, or we know that we need to make a follow-up video for this, we can discuss that at that time. So then we would take the next 5 minutes to go over some safety tips for using Ames, like for example, don't save your password or allow other students to access your Ames account, especially if you can upload assignments or you have grades. You don't want anyone else to be able to access that or to be able to turn something in for you. And then the last 10 minutes would be a Q&A at this time. We would tell students that as part of their Professional Foundations 1 grade, they need to fill out the post-survey that will be sent to them by the end of the day, and then they would have 1 week to complete it. And then again, we would also at this time take questions, which we would also again note if students are asking a lot of questions about certain features. At that time, we would make a note to make a follow-up video about that, and then also let the students know that they would be also having follow-up videos about certain features that maybe they seem to be struggling with. So then post-training. So after all the training sessions have ended, we would send out the post-survey, because normally we have to do 2 of these sessions just because of the amount of students. So then here's the link to the post-survey that we would give out. So overall, was the AIMS training helpful? What did you like about the AIMS training? What didn't you like about the AIMS training? Is there any way the AIMS training can be improved? And then, are there any AIMS features you're still struggling to utilize or access? Please let us know and we can create a video for you. If you have any other questions or comments about AIMS or the training, please write them below. And then a lot of those are open-ended, which I know the tips, the best practices kind of told you to keep that to 1 or 2, but we kind of need to know this for the purposes of future trainings and for the purposes of specifically knowing what videos would need to be created. So once this data is available, the curriculum coordinators and academic technology services departments would get together and would discuss, you know, what we need to do for follow-up training in terms of creating videos, and what we maybe need to do in the future for future trainings, and things that, you know, the students liked, the things that the students didn't like that maybe we need to change. So then again, based on the post-survey feedback, we'd create the videos and we would house them on AIMS so the students can access them for reference. This was actually a video that I created below, because not very many courses use sign-ups, but it's something that they have to know how to do before they even come to Neomed. So it was a video that I created for them that shows them how to sign up for a session. If we have 5 sessions that students can sign up for, how they sign up for the session of their choosing. So again, this is just the mock lesson, training lesson plan that I created to show you how you could use SurveyMonkey in order to kind of drive instruction. So then how to read the SurveyMonkey data. So here I created just a short little 10-minute video that shows you step-by-step how to create the SurveyMonkey data. Again, then I also created a PDF that shows you, just gives you more of a guide to how to create or how to analyze and read SurveyMonkey data. So again, you would log into SurveyMonkey, go to your dashboard and hover over the survey of your choosing and click Analyze Results. And then I also give you a link to analyzing results that it kind of talks to you step by step about the question summaries, the data trends, and the individual responses, and how to navigate each one of those. So then features, you can change the chart type, you can change the trend by date, time, if you have a survey that will allow you to do that. You can also zoom in on the trend data. So then rules, you can filter, compare, or show data. And then you can present the results and you can add that data to your dashboard, which is kind of a nice feature that they do give the free version, since you can't export the data because that's a paid feature. So then second to last, we've got our SurveyMonkey resources. So these are some resources that SurveyMonkey provides. So SurveyMonkey has a blog that includes case studies and guides about using SurveyMonkey for different purposes. Then I also found a case study that's geared towards higher education when using SurveyMonkey Apply to streamline the application process. Although this isn't really part of using SurveyMonkey for data, I just found it really interesting since I know that I do have some classmates that work in higher education using SurveyMonkey for everyday life. So this just kind of shows you how you personally can use SurveyMonkey. So then how can SurveyMonkey help you? These are frequently asked questions that are asked by SurveyMonkey users, and it also includes their answers. So then we have SurveyMonkey in education. So SurveyMonkey actually partnered with the U.S. Department of Education and Harvard Graduate School of Education, and it talks about how they've collaborated to create educational-based survey templates. Which is really neat. So that way you can use some of the templates for educational purposes. So then SurveyMonkey for students, this article discusses how educators are using SurveyMonkey to receive feedback from students, similar to the mock lesson that I created. So then results, in this guide, it explains how to interpret the results from the surveys. So then the last is my opinion. So I created a blog with Wix as a way to kind of learn more about instructional technology and education outside of the walls, quote unquote, of our classroom. And I did a blog on SurveyMonkey and kind of my thought and how I feel about using SurveyMonkey and kind of what I learned from SurveyMonkey. And then I also have a few other posts about, you know, just different instructional technology stuff. So then if we go ahead and go back, then the last page we have are the ISTE standards, where I actually went through and wrote out the ISTE standards that the sample training and that the presentation meet. And I include the standards for coaches, and then I also included the standards for students. So hopefully this presentation was helpful and effective in teaching you how to utilize SurveyMonkey for data collection in your classrooms.